I would like to give you a quick overview about the advantages of a new connector system, which is called Han-Yellock, a new member of the Han connector family. First of all, as can be seen, Han-Yellock comes in a completely new design, which means that it fits very well to modern machines, in general to modern industrial equipment. Han-Yellock can be used, for example, in machinery applications. It fits very well to energy applications, transportation segment, as well as automation equipment. Basically, no real limitation concerning the possible usage of Han-Yellock connector products. So first of all, Han-Yellock offers certain benefits when it comes to putting the connector system together. So the inserts can be mounted completely manually, without special tools, from the mating side, meaning from the cable side, as well as from the inside. Also, when it comes to the termination technologies, Han-Yellock is very flexible. It can be used with crimp terminations, as well as with cage clamp terminations, Han-Quick Lock, or also with actual screw terminations, depending on the preference of the customer and the application. Very unique about the crimp terminals is the fact that also the PE wire can be used in a crimp style. So that means in a certain application, when it comes to putting the connector assembly together, the customer can use the very same termination technology for the ground wire as well as for all the other wires which are used in the assembly. So that means there's only one process, one assembly step when the complete product is put together, which means in the end a time-saving and resource-saving process. When the connector is mated, first of all, the new inserts come into place. But before coming to those details, some words on the coating possibilities which are offered. The red coating elements do offer 25 different coating positions, and they are very fast and securely mounted. So they are just clicked in the cable side as well as the housing side in a certain position. So the position itself is clearly determined by a numbering system in the metal parts. So also when it comes to the documentation about the coding which is used in a certain connector system, it can easily be tracked and defined just by defining a certain number. So for example, if a certain number, like for example 27, is put into the documentation, with this 27 it is clearly defined in which position the coating elements have to be mounted into the cable side or into the housing side of the Han-Yellock connector system. When it comes to mating the connector, the mating process is very simple. Basically, the user just has to take the cable side, place it onto the housing and put it together. Just push it together and it actually clicks in. Before the mating process is completed, the release button, the yellow button, shows a red ring around it. So that means as long as this red ring is visible, the connector system is not yet successfully mated. As soon as both connector halves click together and they are mated, they are secured, the red ring disappears. And this is a very nice optical indication about the successful mating process. Additionally, there's also an audible click. Click can be heard, and this also indicates that the mating process was actually successful. In all those cases where the normal mating, the normal locking is not sufficient, meaning where the customer wants to have an additional safety against accidental opening of the connector, against unauthorized opening of the connector, it is possible to additionally lock up the connector. This is done simply by turning the yellow button by 90 degrees into the horizontal position. As soon as the yellow button is in the horizontal position, this little slot there, the release button cannot be pressed in. And pressing in the yellow buttons is necessary to release the connector. So as soon as the connector is locked up, pressing in the release buttons is not possible anymore, and therefore the connector is additionally secured. To make it possible again to open the connector system, the yellow button has to be turned again by 90 degrees, then it can be pressed in and the cable side can be taken off the housing side. To realize a very cost-effective and efficient marking of the connector system, also certain labels are offered, actually thermotransfer labels, which can easily be printed on standard thermotransfer printers. And the position of this label on the cable side is around the cable entry, down here. Actually, the edges of those thermotransfer labels are protected by the surrounding metal part, meaning there's a certain position dedicated for this label, and the edges are a little bit within the structure of the connector hood, which means taking off the edges of the label is basically prevented, which is very important for a long-lasting label. The label itself, when it comes to the cabinet side, can be placed next to the housing, and in this way a very nice marking is possible, clearly identifying which cable side fits onto which housing side. Han-Yellock, as an overall connector system, offers a very high protection degree. It is tested and therefore released for IP65 and 67 rating, which means that no dust, no dirt, also no humidity can get into the connector, which makes it very nicely usable in many different kinds of applications. Additionally, it is very robust against shock and vibration, which further extends the possibility to apply the connector to. As mentioned in the beginning, mounting the inserts into the connector housings is done without special tools. It's a purely manual process, a very fast process. The modules or the inserts are just clicked into the housing or into the cable side. When it comes to removing those inserts, taking them out of the housing or the cable side, a small tool is necessary, which can be seen here. So the tool is needed for removing the inserts. Actually, removing the inserts can be done also from both sides, meaning from the outside, when you look at the housing, or from the inside. The same counts for the cable version. And very important, though we are talking about a special tool, we made sure that this tool is always available. How is this done? Very simple. This is done with a certain parking position, which can be used for this tool. This parking position is in the cable assembly, which means the tool can be placed within the cable assembly, and therefore it is always on site. So it does not really matter where in the world the service technician has to do some modifications, some maintenance work or whatever. The tool for removing the inserts is always there. So the customer doesn't really have to worry about how the tool gets to his service technician. It is there. So when it comes to the inserts, to the new Yellock modules, there's also a totally new approach realized. Normally, when it comes to industrial connector products, it's always about a male connector side and a female connector side. And from the female connector side, that's usually where the power comes from. Of course, there's always flexibility where the female inserts are to be mounted, either on the cable side or on the housing side. But actually with Han-Yellock modules, a new approach was chosen. With Han-Yellock modules, on both sides, only male modules are used, meaning on the cable side as well as on the housing side. There's only a male connector module, using male contacts. So in all those cases where customers are choosing the crimp technology, this has the big advantage that when it comes to realizing the cable assemblies, only male contacts are used, which means a reduction of, let's say, taking care for stock levels. Organizing the female contacts is not necessary anymore. So only male contacts have to be organized and kept on stock. And also when it comes to realizing the assemblies themselves, only male contacts have to be put to the cable. And it does not matter if we are talking about one side of the cable assembly or the other side of the cable assembly. Both sides are purely with male contacts, which offer certain benefits in the assembly process. As soon as everything is put together, you can basically choose where the female side should be placed. And this can be done with those female-female contact adapters, which are used to connect the male module with the other male module. So this female-female adapter is placed in the middle, and it can be placed either on this side or on this side. The gray adapter is purely a one-to-one connection, meaning one cable comes in, goes through the complete connection, and another cable comes out, one-to-one. As soon as this adapter is changed to one of the also available red versions, we are talking about a bridging function which is implemented. All the red adapters, which can also be mounted to the very same modules, do offer a certain bridging function, meaning a multiplying of potentials. Basically, this means it is possible to come in with one wire from the outside of the equipment of the control cabinet, for example, and to continue with more than one wire to the inside. Actually, it can be realized in a way that you got one input and two outputs, one input and three outputs, actually up to 5 outputs. So the Han-Yellock modules with the adapter frames, the one-to-one connection as well as the multipliers, these are only one option to realize the electrical connection in the Han-Yellock hood and housing system. Actually, besides these Yellock modules, also monoblock inserts, like these ones, are offered with a very high contact density. Then, once again, the Yellock modules with the gray one-to-one adapters and the red multipliers. And last but not least, it is also possible with the help of plastic adapter frames to use all the different inserts of our Han modular series within Han-Yellock connector hoods and housings. So that means all the different Han modular products, actually more than 35 different module configurations, can be used in Han-Yellock, which means when it comes to the electrical necessities, basically everything is covered. So Han-Yellock as a series available in two different sizes, Han-Yellock size 30, that's a smaller type, or the size 60, the bigger type, with all the different inserts, with all the different configurations, basically covers all electrical requirements or nearly everything which is out there in a very compact way, offering especially the big benefits of a very easy and fast assembly process, the possibility of bridging contacts and therefore eliminating terminal blocks, and last but not least, a very unique locking mechanism with an additional lock-up function, which is extremely robust and basically comparable when it comes to the function to a safety belt. So the safety belt in a car is basically, concerning the technical principle, the very same like the locking mechanism of Han-Yellock. So therefore, certainly a locking system everyone can rely on, and which everyone knows as very robust and very safe. Thank you very much.